Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it water and time for a day or a year. Take the seed that you have and plant it here. Give it love. 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 Give it
was pivotal in my life. And my brothers and my dad would always play together whenever we got together. And I grew up in a very musical family. That was my home. This is my home, right? This is your home. Whew, amen. Good morning. Welcome to our hybrid worship service of the Unitarian Universalist Church. Yes, I know the name of our church, of Silver Spring. My name is Brian Hopkins, and I am today's worship associate. And my pronouns are he, his, and him. Welcome, everyone, to Flower Ceremonial Sunday. As part of our annual ritual, many people will bring flowers from home and place them into the shared vases in front of us. If this is your first time attending this ceremony, or you simply forgot to bring a flower, don't worry, there are plenty of flowers in the back. And in a few minutes, when the music starts, you can come up and place flowers in the vase. That would be wonderful for you to join us in that venture. Not only is today our flower ceremony, today we also will be blessing Reverend Dr. Laura, who prepares to leave us to head to New England and take up new ministry with the UU Church of Reading. And after today's service, everyone is invited to join us for lunch out in the parking lot, a big party to help celebrate our shared ministry with our own Reverend Kristin and all of the good that we've done together for the past 2 years. 2 years, really? I know, right? Holy cow. Can we, one more time, yeah? Now, this morning, I'd also like to welcome any guests or visitors who are joining us in person or online. Ji-Wan Kim, who's in the back, can you wave to us? Ji-Wan Kim, if you have any questions, you can address your questions to Ms. Kim, and she'll be very happy to help. For people that are Zooming right now, you can find her in the text. She'll be happy to answer your questions as well. Now it's time for our Zoomers to join us in person, as it were. Y'all who are Zooming right now, please turn your cameras on. And I want everybody in the congregation to look off to the right and wave to the folk. This is beautiful. That is so cool. Nice. Let's see. Now is a fun time in our service. It's time for us in the flesh to greet one another. I invite those who are joining us by I've already passed that, okay. Let's see. In a moment, we'll be singing hymn number 38, Morning Has Broken, as our morning hymn. But first, I invite everyone on Zoom to greet one another in the chat, and people here in person to greet one another within, obviously, the current protocols. It'd be great to take your time out to say hello and greet one another. In a moment, we'll play some music, and that'll be your cue to have a seat.
All right, I invite you to sing with me number 38, Morning Has Broken. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Please join me in the words on the screen as we light our chalice and reaffirm our congregational commitment. May this light warm our hearts with love and caring and guide us in the ways of truth. As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibility this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being. May it be so.
Good morning. Our invocation today comes from the Reverend Thomas Rhodes and is entitled, All of Us Are Beautiful. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches. Some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward, and some of us spread ourselves out wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. Some of us are still in bud. Some of us grow low to the ground, and some of us stretch towards the sun. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. Some of us are prickly sometimes. Some of us smell. and all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. I would like to invite any kids who are here who would like to come up and listen to a story. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see so many kids here today. I am so glad you are all here. Good morning, good morning. Come and join us, beautiful. So how many of you have been part of a flower ceremony service before? Oh, a couple of you, a bunch of you, most of you. You're not sure. Maybe this will spark some memory for you. Does anybody remember the story of the first flower communion or the first flower ceremony? No? You know what? It's hard to remember. So I am going to remind us of this story here today. Well, the story of the first flower ceremony begins 99 years ago in Czechoslovakia, a land in Eastern Europe. It was 1923. And Europe had just experienced the worst war it had ever known. After the war, a lot of countries were redrawn, including Czechoslovakia. People in and around the new country had been fighting with each other for a long time. Even though the war was over, as you might imagine, they didn't trust one another very much, especially those who had been born in different countries, worshiped God differently, or had more or less money than one another. So a Unitarian pastor named Norbert Čapek, can you all say that? Norbert Čapek, good work, created what he called the flower ceremony as a way to bring people into his church together in spite of all these differences. When people came to church on Flower Ceremony Sunday, they brought a flower from home. Did you guys bring a flower from home? Yes, some of you did, some of you didn't. Perfect. Or they would pick one from the roadside on the way to church. Did anybody pick a flower from the roadside on the way to church? No, okay. The flowers were like each of them. They were beautiful, and each was a different part of the countryside. Each of them was unique. When they got to church, they would put all of their flowers into one vase, and the flowers represented each person there. And what do you think the vase represented? If the flowers were the people, what was the vase that was holding them all together? The house? You're so close. What else could it be? The church. That's amazing. That's right. So the flowers were the people, and the vase was the church, because it gathered everybody together in community. And Čapek talked to his people about the way church is meant to bring us together, but also help us see ourselves and one another in new ways. After all, single flowers look a little bit different by themselves than they do when they're all together in a bouquet with other flowers. Each flower lends some of its beauty to its neighbors, and although each is beautiful on its own, when they come together, they make a beautiful bouquet. When the people left the church, each person would take a flower different from the one they'd brought with them, and this was to remind them of the beauty of others, even if they were different, and how each of them contributes to the life of the church. And that's the story of how flower ceremony began and why we celebrate flower ceremony together. Y'all are going to go back to your seats, and then later you're going to get to have some flowers to take with you too.
Spirit of life, for all of the joys shared aloud and those in our hearts for this new day, this chance to gather together in person and still through the miracle of technology, we are thankful. For the knowledge that in this community we are never alone in struggle or in joy, we give thanks. Life is as filled with concerns and sorrows as it is with joys and blessings. For those suffering in mind, body, or spirit, for all who are isolated and alone, for those living in the midst of war and violence near or far, and of all those on the front lines of liberation and equality, whether it be on the streets, in the classroom, in the courtroom, or anywhere else. And for all of the sorrows and concerns from among us here today, we lift up our hearts. For a faith founded on the idea that revelation is not sealed, that there is always more truth to find, more wisdom to learn. We can always do better next time, that we are never beyond forgiveness, never too far gone to get better, that newness of life is always available to us. We give thanks. For those we disagree with, we lift them up too. May we grow in assurance that conflict is normal and can even be healthy when approached with humility, especially in disagreement. May this congregation continue to grow stronger in its unity in the spirit of truth, grow stronger in love, and grow ever more faithful to our mission to nurture spirits and help heal the world. We give thanks for the beauty of nature today and all things that bloom, for strong roots, tender shoots, and sweet fruit. And especially today, we give thanks for the gift of flowers, for their color, their sweet smell, their wondrous variety. We give thanks for their growth, wild and free. So may we be wild, beautiful, and free, and more beautiful together than we are apart. May it be so. Amen. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. Our reading this morning is a poem written by the Reverend Lynn Unger entitled Camel Lilies. Consider the lilies of the field, the blue banks of Kama opening into acres of sky along the road. Would the longing to lie down and be washed by that beauty abate if you knew their usefulness? How the natives ground their bulbs for flour, how the settlers' hogs uprooted them, grunting in gleeful oblivion as the flowers fell. And you, what of your rushed and useful life? Imagine setting it all down, papers, plans, appointments, everything, leaving only a note. Gone to the fields to be lovely, be back when I'm through with blooming. Even now, unneeded and uneaten, the Kama lilies gaze out above the grass from their tender blue eyes. Even in sleep, your life will shine. Make no mistake. Of course, your work will always matter. Yet Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these. Here ends the reading. So in a moment, we are going to partake in a very ancient ritual. It's the laying on of hands. How many people here have ever been to an ordination or an installation before? Okay, then you should have participated in a laying on of hands. I am a firm believer that we do not use this ritual nearly enough in our congregations. And so we're going to be doing this as a way of saying goodbye to Reverend Dr. Laura. The ancient ritual of laying on of hands symbolizes both the bestowing of blessing and the act of conferring power. In Unitarian Universalist churches, all of the people participate in this ritual as an embodiment of our shared ministry together. For it is from the people gathered with the spirit of love and truth moving in, with, and among them that both blessing and power are conferred. When Reverend Dr. Laura was ordained just a few months ago, the congregation where she was ordained did a laying on of hands both to bless and ordain her. This morning, we will engage in this ritual as a way to bless her as she prepares to leave us at the end of this month and go serve the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading, Massachusetts. As we remember each time we partake in the flower ceremony, each of us is a unique and vital part of the whole of this congregation. And by laying our hands upon Laura, we each confer our blessings, but also the blessings of all of the people who have been part of this congregation's ministry for decades, and the many whose ministry led this congregation to come into being. So I invite everyone, as you are comfortable and able, to link up, whether through a hand on the shoulder, holding hands, whatever you need to do. And I invite Laura to go stand right here in front of the microphone. So we're going to link up. There we go. That's the spirit. And if someone link up with me, oh, wait a second. We've got a full circle. Okay. Is everyone linked? That is okay. This is a community of consent. People only, we only participate in that which we wish to. We are linked also with all those joining us on Zoom. Breath of life, spirit of love, filling our lungs, beating in our hearts, we thank you for Reverend Dr. Laura Solomon and the many gifts she's shared here with this community. Thank you for all we've learned from her and for the opportunity to share our gifts, our perspectives, to grow with her in faith and commitment. May the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading give Laura a gracious welcome in generosity of spirit and genuine gratitude for her leadership. May truth, love, and justice always be Laura's guides. May she always know the support of good colleagues. May she grow in wisdom. And may her ministry offer hope in this hurting world. And the congregation said, Amen. And as you all return to your seats, thank you. I have a gift for Reverend Laura. So I took a bit of a risk with this gift, but I saw it and it made me think of you. So here you go. Yeah. Excellent. Oh, this is awesome. Very fun. It is a Superwoman and Batgirl stole.
Absolutely. Very nice.
Well, that was fun. All right. And now we get to commission our leaders. I would like to invite all of the members of the board to come forward, both currently serving members of the board as well as people who will begin serving in July. If everyone could just come up and make a line up here, that would be amazing. We can do it both sides. That's whatever works best. Okay, fantastic. Each of us is equipped with different gifts, but all of our gifts can be shared in the service of the common good. There are different roles to serve and ways to serve them, but we need all of us and all of our gifts to get free. The human family is interconnected, and so is this congregation. It is the relationships that bind these gifts together that make us more powerful as a community than any of us is alone. A little over 2 years ago, the congregation voted to call me as your minister. Last Sunday, the congregation voted to elect most of you as board members, the most senior lay leaders of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. And today, we acknowledge the honor, responsibility, and authority with which you are now entrusted in this community. Before we do that commissioning, I want to acknowledge those board members who will be rolling off of the board. Can those who will be wrapping up their service this month come up here for a moment? I have a gift for you. Carl, Maggie, and Colin. The last 2 years have been a heck of a time to serve on a church board, have they not? So I want to thank all of you for the many hours and the great care and thoughtfulness and faithfulness that you have given to this congregation. We would not be who we are without each of you, so thank you. And I talk often, I hope, about how the work of the congregation is as much about the work that we do inside of ourselves as the work that we do with one another and for the world. And so I offer each of you this new collection of poems and meditations and other magic incantations for rest to tend to your insides. Thank you. Thank you for your service. And I invite the congregation to join me in the unison words here on the screen so we can commission our new board members. We have elected you to lead us as a congregation. Thank you for sharing your gifts of time, expertise, courage, and patience with us. As our leaders, we charge you to build trust, hold healthy boundaries, share your own truths, speak with one voice once you've reached a decision, always put what's best for the whole congregation before your own preferences, support one another. And now some words just for the board members to say. May our service be inspired by love and shaped by the mission, vision, covenant, and bylaws of this congregation. And all together now, may our leaders be blessed, and may our ministry together be a blessing.
Always a beautiful thing. I welcome you now into our weekly practice of generosity. Unlike most places in our lives, this church isn't funded by our taxes, and we don't charge people when they come to worship or bring their children here to be nurtured. This community is possible in part by the income we make by renting out this facility, but mostly it's sustained by your generosity. And I'm looking around trying to look at everybody in the eye, by your generosity. No pressure. And you can see on the screen, there are many ways to give your gift to UUCSS. If you are here in person, you can also place your offering in one of the offering plates as is passed around during the music upcoming. May our hearts grow as we practice generosity together. And as we help keep the dream of a better world alive. And we sure need that nowadays, don't we? The offering now will be given and received with gratitude.
because the flowers shared symbolize the fullness of the congregation, it seems only right for all of us to bless them together. So, whether you're here in the sanctuary or whether you're joining us on Zoom, I invite you to join me in saying the prayer Reverend Chapek wrote for the first flower celebration. The words will appear on your screen. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these, your messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to the work of love. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of others' talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do your work in this world. Amen.
Our flower ceremony will begin in just a moment. And at the invitation of the Sunday support volunteers, we will begin with the front rows and forming two lines, one down each of the side aisles. Reverend Laura and I will offer the first person in each line a flower, and then we invite those people to take a different flower and offer it to the person behind them. In this way, we will all have the experience of giving and receiving in ritual this morning, just as we give and receive the gifts of life here at church and out in the world. If you cannot come up to the table and need a flower brought to you, we are happy to do so. Please just raise your hand and we'll make sure one is brought to you. Let us begin.
If that doesn't relax you, I don't know what does, you know? Our church is not only the organization that puts together these services. We are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and a part of the global UU denomination. Visitors are welcome to stay on the Zoom and join us for our virtual coffee hour after the service. Now, for the morning announcements, or my line of work, it would be breaking news. I feel like somebody should hand me a script, right? Okay, I'll just shut up now. First of the announcements about Catoctin trips, September 23rd through 25th. Woohoo! Right? This annual UUCSS camping trip to the Catoctin Mountains is something many people look forward to. And after a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic, we're looking forward to starting it up again. So far, we have 51. Yes, exactly. 51, is that the current count? We have what was that? That hurt. 51, but we need 60. We have 51 people that are from the 9th grade and on up. And again, we need 60. So if you're 90% sure you can join us, please sign up using the link in the all church email. Catoctin has something for absolutely everyone, from cooking to hiking, sports, board games, improv, theater. I want to be there now. And of course, music. Please contact Chris Lindsay if you have any questions. And finally, an announcement about services this summer as we experience transition in our religious education staff. We are focusing on preparing for our fall programming and will not offer RE for children this summer, though children of all ages are very much welcome to sit right here in the chairs and enjoy the service. Also, all services will continue to be held at 10:30 and every Sunday, except for the one on July 3rd, will be offered both in person and on Zoom. July 3rd, we will be all virtual and join several other UU congregations in turning in to All Souls service that day. More information about that will be upcoming. Now we ask you to rise in body and spirit and join us for our closing hymn, number 65, The Sweet June Days.
The sweet June days are come again, once more the glad earth hears its golden wealth of ripening grain and breath of clover fields, and deepening shade of summer woods, and glow of summer air. Thoughts and happy moods of love and joy and prayer. The sweet June days are come again, the birds are on the wing, bright anthems in their merry strain, unconsciously they sing. These happy summer days, for all the joys of field and wood, we lift our songs of praise.
Please join me in the words of chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Our benediction words by Jacob Trapp. May the love that makes life beautiful,
The reverence that makes life holy,
and the truth that makes us free
lead us onwards together.
into a deepening and growing communion of life.
Our worship has ended and our service begins.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. Oh, I see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
If everyone will wait just a few more minutes, we've got a little bit of a postlude that we're going to do the choir and some of the rest of us in honor of Reverend Kristin. Okay, so hold on. There are a few more musical numbers that we're going to do and a little bit of an honoring of Reverend Kristin that she doesn't know about. So sit tight.
The party is coming, but the party starts now in here. So hang tight.
So the choir is going to sing a song that's called When There Is Light in the Soul. It's a setting of the Chinese proverb by John Shea, who's a Unitarian Universalist. And I thought I'd read it to you because a lot of times with our masks, you can't always hear the words. So I'll give you that benefit here. So when there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the home. When there is harmony in the home, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world.
There is light in the soul.
Is this on now? All right. Jeremy and I are pleased to say a few words honoring Reverend Kristin in recognition and celebration of her installation. A bit late, but heartfelt nonetheless. Jeremy and I co-chaired the second ministerial worship committee, which included Anna Malthus, Steve Hirsch, Lisa Shoemaker, Katie Haig, and Beverly Schnitzler. We represent the team today and want to share a few of the team's observations. The process of searching for a new minister was never easy. Our team and the first ministerial search team, Maggie Hayes, Jan Harrelson, Carl Miller, Carol Hamilton, Colin Riggs, Susanna Numa, and Alice Ann Beachy, worked long and hard in our search for a minister who met the high expectations of this congregation. The first team laid the basic framework for the process, spending hours drafting a congregational record, a congregational survey, talking with the congregation, engaging in cottage meetings with you all. The second team spent hours reviewing all of that information and adding to it with new information. Both teams reviewed resumes, reached out to other congregations for references, engaged in initial telephone interviews and weekend interviews. It was a lengthy process for us all.
As the second team reviewed the records of the many candidates who sought ministerial work at UCSS, what drew us to Reverend Kristin right from the start were her ties to the area, her work on social justice issues, her extensive background in music, and her experience as a lead minister. There we go. Personally, I was excited because she mentioned Star Trek, Harry Potter, and my favorite fantasy novelist on her ministerial website. Reverend Kristin was the first of our interviewees to request a particular weekend for her in-person interview, but we ran into trouble with scheduling. She agreed right away to change her dates. It resulted in us having Valentine's Day dinner with Kristin, which was probably another sign for us all that we found our minister. The next day, we had scheduled 3 hours for our interview with Reverend Kristin. However, it went way longer than that because we found her so easy to talk to, and we could just tell that she got how proud we were of UCSS. She shared our enthusiasm in discussing our future. She made the interview process easy by being open, approachable, and thoroughly prepared. Reverend Kristin was genuinely interested in serving our community. She also expertly answered the most important question I had prepared. I asked her, "Who is your favorite Star Trek captain?" All jokes aside, her answer was surprisingly meaningful. I won't do her answer justice, but she said it was Picard because he and the show in general exemplified the future we as UUs are fighting for. A world without racial or class distinction, in which a well-reasoned speech by Jean-Luc Picard is all we need to end conflicts.
During the weekend that we spent with Reverend Kristin, we were impressed with her youthful energy and her easy presence. We were interested to hear about her social justice work on the Dakota Access Pipeline with indigenous people demonstrating at Standing Rock, and her work at the border fighting for immigrant rights. We were impressed with her discussion of the need for inclusiveness in our congregation, including ways that she wanted to involve family members in the service and at church generally. Reverend Kristin stressed during her interview that change, while difficult, was usually welcome in the end, that a congregation needs to be open to re-examining habits and traditions. I was especially excited about Reverend Kristin's music background, and we've been treated with several examples, including today, of her lovely voice during church services, and sure hope to hear more from her in that regard in the future.
Starting a new ministry position during the pandemic probably could not have been more difficult, but Reverend Kristin dove into the job without hesitation. With the help of our incredible staff and volunteers, they put together a Zoom worship service and then a hybrid service. She has met with committees and the board. She has officiated at weddings and memorial services. She has been a guiding hand to the lay ministers. She has blessed us with her beautiful voice and musicianship. She has brought children into the service increasingly through multi-generational services. And she's been doing all this while raising 4 young boys with her husband, Christian.
Reverend Kristin, we are so happy that we chose you and that you chose us. We are excited that you are helping us lead UUCSS into the future. Wait, Maggie Hayes has got just a few more words. Oh, okay.
Greetings. I'm Maggie Hayes, a member of the Board of... Can't hear. How about that? I'm Maggie Hayes. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for 18 more days. And my pronouns are she and her. Sharon and Jeremy have spoken just now about their experiences during what I call phase 2. Okay. It's really in my face. They've spoken just now about their experiences during what I call phase 2 of the ministerial search. I was on the committee that conducted phase 1 of the search during 2018 and 19. When a church begins a ministerial search, the Unitarian Universalist Association often provides a coach for the search committee. We had a coach who joined us for our retreat at the beginning of the process. I vividly remember her telling us that every church is looking for the exact same sort of minister. One who articulately delivers brilliant sermons. One who can be counted on for compassionate pastoral care. One who excels at managing the church's staff. One who is dedicated to working towards social justice and against all forms of oppression. One who's good at setting boundaries and observing them. And one who is committed to supporting a robust religious education program for all ages. And then, of course, she told us there was no such minister. Anywhere. Ever. Each candidate would have strengths and weaknesses, like all of us humans, and we would have to figure out what traits mattered the most to us. Now, I realize Reverend Kristin isn't perfect. She would be the first to tell you so. But over the past 2 years, I've thought of that coach's warning and realized how lucky we were to find someone who's pretty darn good in all the areas that matter most to our community. So I could cite numerous examples of the ways Reverend Kristin has built a shared ministry with us during the past couple of tumultuous years, but I was instructed to be brief. I know that you're eager for the party to begin, and actually Sharon and Jeremy gave a lot of examples that I would have echoed. So, as the board president for another 18 days, I feel honored to express our congregation's heartfelt gratitude and appreciation, and to present Kristin with a token of our thanks and affection. Reverend Kristin, we are so glad you decided to answer our call.
There's a wild wind I was told, and it was through the ages. There's a restless dream shared by sages. It's not just what they had to say, it's more that they found a way to answer the call. Answer the call. It was a rugged road, unpaved by creed. But the way he was lit by love and by deed. And when storms raged through the night, they were guided by that light to answer the call. Answer the call. Praise to those among the living. Praise to those who came before. Praise to those who hear the calling and open the door. It's for the living to carry that flame. And you heard the voices call. Well, it sounds like your name. Well, at first you had doubts, it's true, but the message was meant for you. Oh, to answer the call. Answer the call. Praise to those among the living. Praise to those who came before. Who hear the calling and open the door. To those in the future, we hope we served you well. From life in the here and now, it's not easy to tell. But we all tried to stoke that fire, and we dreamed that it would inspire you to answer the call. Answer the call. Answer the call. Answer the
Some surprise. Thanks, everybody. I'm a little bit overwhelmed. So they often talk about ministry with the congregation as like a marriage. And in the ordination ceremony, ministers take vows, congregations take vows. And one of the things I've noticed in my own marriage is that what makes it a blessing is that it calls me to be a better person. My relationship with my husband calls me to be the best person that I can be. And one of the things that I love about this congregation is I feel like you all help call me to be the best minister that I can be. And so I'm just so thrilled to be your minister and to be sharing this ministry together with all of you. And I am so excited to see what comes next. So thank you. Let's party!